Joining us now, we have Bukidnon Representative Jonathan Keith Flores. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Congressman.
Hi, good morning, Gretchen. Hi.
The first impeachment complaint of 2026 against the president has already been filed. How many days will it take to get this referred to the Committee on Justice? Am I correct that it takes 10 days to place it in the order of business and then 3 days to refer it to the Justice Committee?
Yes, that's correct, Gretchen. As soon as the Secretary General transmits the impeachment complaint to the office of the Speaker, then the Speaker would have 10 session days to include it in the order of business. And once it's included in the order of business, then we would have at least 3 days to refer it to the Committee on Justice.
Okay. But wala pa pong session sa ngayon. Magsisimula ho ng January 26. Tama po ba? So, January 26 pa po gugulong yan. Is that correct?
Yes po, that's correct. That's when we start, we resume our session. Yeah.
Okay. I do remember that there was a confusion in the first impeachment complaint against the Vice President over when a complaint is deemed initiated. How will the new SC ruling apply here?
The SC ruling just says that it's deemed initiated once it is referred to either the Committee on Justice, or if we do the third mode, no, once more than a third of the members of the House endorse the same impeachment complaint. Although there are other requirements na nilagay nila ngayon, so medyo mas difficult na po yung third mode.
Yung sa boto ho?
Yes, mas mahirap na. Kasi other than getting the required signatures, the numbers, no, na more than 1/3, dapat bigyan pa ng opportunity to answer and bigyan ng opportunity ang lahat ng members to have copies and all of the evidence that is attached to the impeachment complaint.
Of course, ito nga po, nagko-comment nga po yung ibang mga kongresista that this impeachment complaint against the president is dead on arrival. Dahil ho, medyo mahina raw ho yung ebidensya, nakalakip niya, and that it might not withstand constitutional scrutiny. Now, in the past, the placing of complaints was usually delayed to be able to consolidate impeachment complaints that will be filed. So, is there room for that?
Well, that's what I've been hearing ngayon na some people have been commenting on the impeachment complaint and calling it weak and stuff, no? But for me, no, let us let the facts lead the discussion, not emotions or political noise. Kasi ngayon ang naririnig mo is just this or that, but no one has actually ever said that they've studied the complaint that has been filed. In fact, I have not received a copy of it myself, except for those that I have seen in the social media.
Okay. So wala pa ho kayong kopya. But kung sakasakali ho na medyo mahina nga po ito, paano po kaya ang gagawin ng Kongreso? Mag-aantay pa rin po ba? Or meron pa po mong room to wait for other impeachment complaints against the President?
Well, this is my suggestion to those who say that it is a weak complaint or that it is designed to be dismissed. Then they should come up with their own impeachment complaint because there's still time. And they can still file their own impeachment complaint. Everyone is free to file any impeachment complaint. But just the same, all impeachment complaints must be backed up with evidence and with the facts.
Okay, but that became a problem with the impeachment complaint against the Vice President. Yung marami ho nagpo-file, ano? Until when is there allowance for these complaints to be consolidated? Until the Secretary General officially receives it?
No. Until it is referred to the Committee on Justice. So from now until after it is included in the order of business, and for as long as it is not yet been referred to the Committee on Justice, then any person can still file an impeachment complaint.
Pero hindi ba ho, yun nga rin ho yung nangyari doon sa Vice Presidente na yung impeachment complaints ay inupuan o nagtagal dito nga po sa office ng Speaker, or am I correct, bago siya i-refer sa Committee on Justice? What was the problem?
I'm sorry, Gretchen, no? But the issue there was that the Secretary General took time to forward the impeachment complaints to the office of the Speaker. That's what the Supreme Court said na, the Secretary General does not have the authority to sit on the complaints. No? Now, example, assuming that there are other impeachment complaints that will be filed, it does not bar any other impeachment complaints. No? For as long as hindi pa nasimulan ng Committee on Justice ang pag-initiate doon sa impeachment complaint na nirefer sa Committee ng Justice.
So that means there is, but doesn't that somehow give a deadline to how long this can be sorted out by the Secretary General?
The Secretary General does not have parang the discretion, no? The discretion, sorry, the discretion to wait, I'm sorry. The discretion to sit on the complaints. Ang obligation niya is to forward it to the office of the Speaker. Now, once it's in the Speaker's office, may 10 session days the Speaker to include it in the order of business. No? Now, before it is included in the order of business, kung may mag-file pa, may obligasyon pa rin ng Secretary General to transmit the same, all other complaints to the office of the Speaker para doon na i-present sa plenaryo, i-include sa order of business.
Oho. Tapos pagka nandun na po sa order of business, tsaka na po pipili kung alin po yung
Yes.
pinaka-matibay.
Okay. Doon na pipili yung plenaryo po. Kung anong complaint ang
okay.
i-refer nila to the Committee on Justice.
Okay. So at what point, it will only be deemed initiated pagdating po ng Committee of Justice, pag na-refer na ho?
Yes, ma'am. Tama po.
Oo. Okay. What was wrong with what happened to the impeachment complaint against the Vice President?
Ang sinabi po ng Supreme Court that time was that there were 4 impeachment complaints, no? 3 filed by persons, no? And groups. And yung 4th is yung endorsed by more than 1/3 of the members of the House. Na parang consolidation of all the impeachment complaints. So parang panibagong complaint din yun. Yun ang pinili na i-endorse ng more than 1/3. The rest were archived. Ang mali doon kasi sabi ng Supreme Court is that inaksyonan, in-archive muna ng ang 3 before inaksyonan yung 4th, no? Which is actually the other way around based on our motion for reconsideration. So by acting on the first 3, they said that it already barred the filing of the 4th complaint.
So the archiving was deemed as action upon the impeachment complaint.
Yes, ma'am.
But it was not referred yet to the Committee on Justice.
Not referred because the securing of more than 1/3 of the vote no longer requires the action of the Committee on Justice under our rules.
Okay. So dito nga po yung ito nga po yung subject ng motion for reconsideration. And so now to be able to not commit any possible violations with the upcoming filing or impeachment complaints, how will Congress adjust while there is no ruling yet by the Supreme Court or decision on this, final decision on this?
Yan din ang problema namin ngayon di ba? Kasi do we amend our rules to conform with the ruling of the Supreme Court or do we wait for the Supreme Court to decide on the motion for reconsideration that's been pending for quite some time, no? Kaya nga parang gusto ko nga sanang manawagan sa Supreme Court na desisyonan yun ng maaga para at least we will be guided accordingly, no? We cannot let's say act based on our old rules and just let someone bring it up before the Supreme Court again and have it struck down again for not following whatever rules that the Supreme Court may have added.
Because in effect, if this is not changed by the Supreme Court, then hindi po ito pwede magtagal sa opisina ng Secretary General.
Yes, definitely hindi talaga to dapat magtagal sa opisina ng Secretary General. So as session resumes, I would most likely think that she would immediately transmit it to the office of the Speaker.
Okay, so now is the time to be able to consolidate. Are you hearing that there will be another impeachment complaint filed against the Vice President, and when will that come?
The only thing I heard about that was the comments made by Congressman Narisa, no, that there have been some groups associated with the Dutertes that have been asking him, no, if he wanted to sign the impeachment complaint against the president. No, that's the only thing I've heard of. But if, as I said earlier, no, if there are others who would like to file a stronger impeachment complaint, if they think that this one has been designed to fail, then by all means, no, they should file that impeachment complaint. No? Para at least naman, we're sure that the process of the impeachment process is respected. No? It's not like parang pinaglalaruan lang ng kahit sino just to put in place the one-year bar rule.
Okay, let's take a look at the complaint filed by lawyer Andre De Jesus. This was endorsed by House Deputy Minority Leader and Puso Pinoy Party List Representative Journey Jet Nisay. Ito po ay culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, graft and corruption for four grounds. Surrendering the former president to the ICC, drug use, which deems him unfit to serve, his failure to veto on program appropriations, and the creation of ICI to shield allies from corruption. How strong are these allegations, do you think? Because nga po of the one that you mentioned a while ago, na kailangan magpresenta ng ebidensya sa House. To the accused also.
Again, hindi ko pa nakita yung attachments niya. Kung may attachments pa siyang ebidensya to show that this alleged impeachable offense is supported by either facts or evidence, di ba? Kasi sabi ko nga, dapat let facts lead the discussion, not emotions or political noise. Kasi sayang lang yung oras din ng House, sayang lang din ng oras ng tao kung ang ifa-file na impeachment complaint is just parang flimsy lang, no? Na para lang sabihin may nag-file ng impeachment against the president. No? And again, for those who are saying that mahina yun, then look for better grounds para kayo mismo mag-file ng impeachment complaint. No one would be stopping you from filing any impeachment complaint.
But the term of betrayal of public trust is quite broad.
Yes.
It's a catch-all phrase saying that an official is unfit for office, there is inexcusable negligence or abuse of power or cronyism. Given nga po na the state of the flood control probe right now, sa House Speaker pa nga lang ho, sinasabi na ho ng presidente, wala pang ebidensya na nagtuturo yung tawag dito, yung solid concrete evidence. Papaano pa ho kung sa presidente? But we do know there is such a thing as command responsibility.
Yeah.
But could that be a strong basis for impeachment? What kind of facts are you looking for?
Well, at least man lang facts that should lead that he allowed these things to happen. That at the very least na parang may participation, even if he did not sign any document, even if there's no evidence that he actually received money, but if there can be at least evidence that will show that he purposely allowed these things to happen while he was the president, then maybe that may be sufficient grounds. Because as you've said, that ground is so broad, no? Na kahit ano lang, no? Na mawalan ng betrayal of the public trust is so broad, no? Na kahit ano lang ang pwede mong sabihin. Basta it leads to the loss of public trust, then that should be a ground for impeachment, no?
Kumbaga, direct involvement ho ang hinahanap po ninyo at hindi lang negligence.
Hindi naman direct involvement, but it should be involvement in such a way that would lead a person to believe na may alam siya, na pinayagan niya, na parang tinolerate niya as president, na when he should have stopped it in the first place.
Well, his failure to veto the unprogrammed appropriations was something that could be interpreted as tolerating this. Unprogrammed appropriations ballooned under his time from 2023 up to 2025. Laki po ng tinaas po niyan. And in the recent budget, ito lang din ho ang kanyang binawasan, pero hindi pa natanggal ng buong-buo. I mean, isn't that enough evidence for you?
No, because unprogrammed funds are unprogrammed funds, no? What's important is that if the unprogrammed funds were used properly, then there is going to be no issue about it. The issue here is that these unprogrammed funds were used improperly. Yan ang problema. But it was after the release of these unprogrammed funds na dun na ang mga kalokohan na nangyari. It's not like you did not veto the unprogrammed funds knowing that it will not be used properly, knowing that it will end up in ghost projects. Ibang usapan yun. But not vetoing it with the hope that these unprogrammed funds would be properly implemented is not a crime in itself.
Congressman Toby Chanco relayed witnessing the president getting mad at the House Speaker and Congressman Zaldi Co over ito nga yung sa budget, budget issues, parang sumusobra na kayo, ganun. Isn't that tantamount to admitting that the president has knowledge of what was being done to the budget?
You know, since Toby Chanco says that he has personal knowledge of these events, then the best thing that should have been done is that for Toby Chanco to himself file that impeachment complaint. Because siya yung may personal knowledge. He says he was present and he was there, he overheard these things. Then that would show, or that would prove that the president has personal knowledge na may nangyayaring kalokohan sa baba, di ba? But other than that, it will just be his word against whatever, no? Na nangyayari ngayon.
Okay. Kung sakasakali ho, ito, dalawa ho ang impeachment complaint na magsasabay. Paano kaya? How will Congress deal with this?
Well, it will both be presented before the plenary, no? Kung i-include yan ni Speaker in the order of business. And the plenary will decide which one to forward to the Committee on Justice.
Which one? So, or paano kung kasi dalawang officials po yan? Pwede po sabayan, di ba? Tama ho? Kung sakasakali ho ay, because the Makabayan Bloc said that they will initiate an impeachment complaint against the Vice President again. So we're expecting two impeachment complaints, one against the President, one against the Vice President. As to how many against them, yun po yung that is yet to be determined. And so how do you imagine that going and being, and how will Congress manage it kung dalawa po ang lumusot po dito?
Well, as I've said, no, it's just like any other bill. No? The Committee on Justice has several bills pending that we try to act on a daily basis. No? So, if there's one impeachment complaint, we'll just treat it as parang an ordinary bill lang din that was filed, that was referred to our committee. If there's another impeachment complaint against the Vice President, then this also going to be treated like any other bill that has been filed before the Committee on Justice. So, parang we can handle both naman. We can just schedule it. It's not like full-time, yun lang ang pag-uupuan namin at pag-discussion na namin ang isang impeachment complaint. It can be done simultaneously nga. Scheduling lang ang problemahin namin.
Now, what happens if there's no ruling from the Supreme Court on the motion for reconsideration as Congress resumes? What will be done? Because the SC seems or appears to be immune to pressure on acting on pending cases.
Yeah, that's a problem that will have to be resolved by the House leadership, whether or not to amend our own rules on impeachment to comply or to conform with the decision of the Supreme Court, or do we follow our own rules, no, and claim that anyway there's still a pending motion for reconsideration, so that decision is not yet final as far as our rules is concerned.
Oo. So if when it comes to timelines, meron po bang concrete timelines sa pinaka-conservative ho dito to be able to make sure that wala po na-violate?
Well, the fastest really would be from 26, 10 session days. Dapat included na in the calendar of business. And then once it's included in the calendar of business, ang referral na to the Committee on Justice. Another maximum of 3 days din.
Ito po ay working days, calendar days.
Session days.
Session days. Okay. So matagal-tagal ho ito. And hopefully there is a ruling there, but if not, medyo clear-cut naman, no? Kailangan mabilis to.
Yes, ma'am. No, we don't want to hold the nation din parang in suspense, di ba? So let's deal with it because this is part of our system, no? Parang they say that we're for stability, no? Stability must always come with accountability also. So this is a process that we just have to go through.
But you also had a comment saying that Supreme Court may have committed an overreach in declaring the Duterte impeachment unconstitutional. Can you elaborate on this?
Well, my comment about the overreach was the fact that they've been saying that we should do this, no? Parang dinagdagan nila yung rules namin on how we will be handling impeachment cases. Now, supposedly we are co-equal branches. We don't tell them that they should not let cases sit for 10 years, di ba? Minsan more pa nga, di ba? Because that's their own rules. And we respect them as a co-equal branch of government. Just as the same way as they should respect the House of Representatives or the Senate or Congress for that matter in how we determine what rules we should follow as far as impeachment cases are concerned. Because impeachment cases is solely within the powers of Congress and the House of Representatives. And how we go about it should be determined by ourselves as kami naman yung gumagawa ng sariling rules namin. And that's why I said that when the Supreme Court decision came out with the decision adding more na requirements sa rules namin on procedure on how to go about an impeachment complaint, I thought that was really an overreach on the part of the Supreme Court.
I do remember that there was a time in history where the impeachment court did not follow a Supreme Court ruling. They voted not to follow. So that is possible here. Na hahayaan nyo na kung wala pong sagot ng Supreme Court, kayo na pong magdidesisyon.
That was the Senate during the trial, no? But for the House, I will have to leave it up to the House leadership, on how they want to go about it.
Okay. Is it infinitely harder now to get an impeachment complaint through, to your opinion?
No, not necessarily. It's the same process that we go through, no? Same lang din talaga ang procedure, except lang for the additional yung making sure that each member will get a copy of the complaint and the evidence is attached, and that the respondent should be given reasonable time to answer also. That's the only thing that has been technically added. No?
And also, the evidence should be presented to the accused.
Yes.
And given
That
time
too.
to respond. Hindi po ba dapat sa trial na ho yun? What are your thoughts on that?
That's what we were saying nga di ba? Ang determination kasi ng whether there's sufficient evidence to go through with an impeachment rests solely on us. Dapat kami yung mag-determine yan. Anong ebidensya ang ipapakita in the trial should be in the trial at the Senate, not at the level when we determine whether or not we should impeach the person or not, di ba? So that's where the overreach also came in. Na parang pinapatry niyo na sa amin at this stage pa lang Nga dapat ang gagawin lang namin is determine kung impeachable offense ba yung final na complaint against the person who is supposed to be impeached.
So in that sense, is it infinitely harder to get an impeachment complaint through?
That's if we follow the rules that have been laid down by the Supreme Court in their ruling, which is, again, as I've said, subject of a motion for reconsideration.
Okay, we do hope that the Supreme Court's ruling on this will make it on time, or else we might see a constitutional crisis at hand. No? Okay, maraming salamat for your time today and for breaking that down for us. We have Bukidnon Representative, Vice Chairman of the Committee on Justice, Jonathan Keith Flores.
Thank you, Gretchen.